You just gonna walk up on my property? Excuse me, cuz. What set you rep, cuz? Oh, so you gonna annoy me? You just gonna walk past me like you don't see me standing here on the block? Alright, wait till you come back. Excuse me, sir. You just gonna walk past me, cuz? I said what set you clean. Who? What? This is my block. What? Oh, you gonna kick me? Come here. You gonna get all of these feathers now. Come here. You thought this was a game, huh? You thought you was gonna walk up on me, walk on my block without a pass? No. Come here, bring that ass here. Come here.
Armchair.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you on this beautiful Thursday evening? We're back here with the sports page. Listen, we just don't have enough content to do this every day with baseball being on lockdown. So the deal is we're going to be doing the sports page on Mondays to get you caught up with the action from the weekend and talk about Monday Night Football. On Thursdays to talk about Thursday Night Football and just kind of get you caught up with what's going on in the week. Then we're going to do the Friday night live show once again, the happy hour. That'll be 5 p.m. Eastern, and all the gang will be there for that. We'll do the Sunday show for the handicappers, 10 a.m. to noon, and then we are planning on doing a lot of live ball games here in the near future, trying to get that schedule organized. I am planning on doing the Army-Navy game Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern. I think we owe it to the men and women overseas who cannot get the game and want to hear the game. I've gotten a lot of inboxes and requests for it, and it is the very least we can do for those who serve overseas. So if I have to do it solo, I'm going to do it solo, but I'm going to try to get some of the guys to do it with me. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the first thing at hand today, and it's a big one. Bob Costas goes off on the NBA, the IOC, LeBron James, Colin Kaepernick. Here is the video.
What is it with the IOC and their affinity for authoritarian nations? There will be an Olympics, a Summer Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles. It will have been since 2002 when the Winter Games were in Salt Lake, since there has been an Olympics on American soil, and yet American television is the single greatest source of revenue for the IOC. Many IOC delegates remain ticked off at the U.S. because a free press blew the cover off the Salt Lake bidding scandal. Mitt Romney had to come in and set the thing straight. The whole thing was up in the air, the whole thing might have fallen apart. They have long memories about this stuff, and the IOC and many of those delegates act in a high-handed way. And in that sense, you can see where the affinity for authoritarian nations comes in.
I have another acronym for you. It's not the IOC.
Yeah.
It's the NBA. I
Yes.
have to believe there are some guys holding their breath watching this, because if this is sufficient grounds for there to be a diplomatic boycott, then what does it say about the NBA doing business in China?
The NBA is up to its neck in China. China is a huge sports market. Basketball is especially popular there. But they will put up with not even the slightest criticism. They reject it out of hand, and when they can, some of it may be just saber rattling, like saying today that the U.S. will pay the price for their wrongdoings, but to the extent that they can, they exact a price. I'm repeating myself here because I've said it before to you and others on CNN, but back a couple of years ago when Daryl Morey, then the GM of the Houston Rockets, tweeted, "Stand with Hong Kong," Rockets games were suddenly off the air for an extended period in China, and the Rockets are one of the most popular teams there because Yao Ming was the first big Chinese star in the NBA. More recently, Enes Kanter, who grew up in Turkey, so he knows what authorities... Yeah, Celtics. He's a Turk. He spoke out against China. Same thing. Celtic games like that, gone. I guarantee you that the feed of this conversation is gone in China right now.
Maybe the U.S. should stop having 80% of the goods we use come from China. Well, that's my iPhone point. Your thought?
Well, that's a very large... How do you unravel that?
in 60 seconds or less. Well, the point is, we talk a good game.
I don't mean unravel the issue.
Yeah.
Let's assume you wanted to do that. How do you unravel that?
There are going to be a lot of goods that we're reliant upon that suddenly aren't going to be available to us.
By the way, a lot of Nike's goods
Sure.
that benefit the likes of Colin Kaepernick and LeBron James.
No doubt.
Made in China.
Yeah.
And those outspoken individuals, and in many cases, I think millions of Americans would agree with their positions on domestic issues, but they are conspicuously mum when it comes to China. And no matter what the issues are here, and they are serious issues, in terms of dimension, they pale alongside what's going on in China.
So essentially, Bob Costas is echoing the thoughts of, I think, most Americans, and kind of fed up with the IOC. Now realize Bob Costas covered the Olympics many a times, but he no longer has to listen to the higher up, so to speak. He's kind of his own free agent, and he works for the MLB Network. He does some other things, but essentially he doesn't have to bootlick, and you're going to hear it from Bob Costas, and I'm glad to see it. He's one of our better minds that's ever been involved in sports. He's been doing it for a long time. You may not agree with everything he has to say, but hell, who do you agree with everything they have to say? What a boring world that would be. It's nice to see someone of his high standing in the sports world to go after the untouchables. So, only thing I'll add to it is pretty much I applaud him, and I think he's right. I've only been saying this. If you followed our show, I've only been beating this drum for I don't know how long. And LeBron James is a fraud, and if he was at least honest that he's just at it for the almighty dollar and his soul is for sale, I think a lot more of us would respect him and go, fair enough. But he goes with wherever the wind blows, and he says what he thinks you want to hear. But the guy's not to be trusted across the board, and so not a fan of LeBron, never have been. There was a time when he wasn't constantly sticking his foot in his mouth that I didn't mind watching it. Look, there were some NBA finals that I really enjoyed he was involved in. When he first came back to Cleveland, those were fun NBA finals to see LeBron go up against the Golden State Warriors. But from the scale of what kind of a person he is, LeBron James is not a role model in any shape or form, nor Colin Kaepernick for that matter. Both of them are slime balls that are only out for the mighty dollar, and if you believe anything else, you're a dope. And that's just the way it is. We will move on from that to what I consider real sports talk. And have you seen this news coming out of Jacksonville Jaguar camp? Jacksonville Jaguars running back James Robinson has a teammate in his corner, and it's Trevor Lawrence, who said on Wednesday that he made it clear to Jaguars coaching staff that Robinson needed to be on the field as much as possible. It has come out over the last 48 hours that James Robinson, his touches were affected because of a couple of fumbles over the last couple of days. Last couple of games. And basically, Lawrence is saying this guy has got to be on the field if we're going to win games. And here's the quote. In my eyes, obviously, I'm the one that's out, that sees all the pieces moving. I see the whole picture. Bottom line is James is one of our best players, and he's got to be on the field, and we addressed it. And I feel like we're in a good spot, and the whole team, we're good. Whatever may have happened, I honestly don't even know everything that went into it, but I'm playing the game, and stuff happens on the sidelines with coaching decisions. I don't really get into that, but I know, and I voice my opinion, James is one of our best players, and he's got to be in the game, unquote. And so he went on for a little longer, but it's pretty much the same thing. He's basically saying, I want him out there. I want to try to win. And if you're not putting him out there, to be perfectly honest with you, we're not putting our best foot forward, so are we trying to win the damn game? And I have to agree with him. Look, you don't want Robinson to have the fumbles. Now, whether or not there was some kind of interaction after the fumbles, if he got lippy with the coaching staff, don't know. But this is a professional business. This is a professional sport, It's a business. And you are going to have guys make mistakes. But this isn't like a college game, and this is where Urban Meyer is losing it. Is where he's losing the locker room. You're not trying to treat or teach a freshman how to hold on to the ball. We all heard all the old stories from old coaches. Hell, I heard many of them that if a freshman fumbled the ball, he had to carry the ball around like a necklace all week long. Other coaches would give the running back or whoever it was the football and tell them that if they fumble the ball the entire week, they're running stadium stairs, and they would put players up to coming out of nowhere. I'm talking about when a guy's going to class, coming out of nowhere and trying to punch the ball loose. This is professional football. And the simple fact of the matter is he's the best running back, and it's not even close in that backfield, in that locker room. And if you're going to have a chance to win, he's got to be on the field. If you're a fantasy football player, I know your first question is, can I trust it? I don't know. If you have another option, I'd say I'd probably go somewhere else, because I don't know how vindictive the coaching staff, Urban Meyer, is going to be about this. But if this is week 4, week 5, you don't really worry about it. Week 13, you're a little worried about it because it's do or die, and a lot of teams are in the position where the playoffs are either about to start, so that you need the win to get in, or the playoffs have started. I think I said week 13. It's actually week 14. Traditionally, this is the week where all fantasy playoffs start, but because the season's a little longer this year, most leagues are starting next week. Regardless, if you've got him, you may not have a better option, so you're going to have to start him and just hope. But that's the situation that you're in right now. All right, looking at tonight's game, because I think we got a pretty good ball game tonight, to be perfectly honest with you. Minnesota, I know they're just 5-7 on the year, but they're still in the NFC playoffs. They're at home. They're hosting a 6-5-1 Steelers team. Minnesota is a 3.5-point favorite. A 3.5-point favorite. And the over-under is 44.5. It's going to be a game-time decision on Dalvin Cook on whether or not he plays. If he does not go, you can expect a very, very big dose of Alexander Madison. Now, here's the thing on that. Madison, who actually played really well and is a decent running back going up against a pretty bad rushing defense of Pittsburgh, fantasy and from the standpoint of betting, I think that the Vikings are going to be able to move that ball. I do believe this is going to be a close game. The over-under being 44.5, that seems really low to me. It really does. I don't see how this is such a low line when you consider these two defenses. Now, I will say this. We've seen these two offenses sputter a little bit, but all in all, I think the Minnesota Vikings can move the ball on the Steelers, and the Steelers ought to be able to move the ball on Minnesota's defense. 44.5, my favorite number in this game is taking the over. You take the over, you don't worry about the rest. The 3.5, if I was going to lay it one way or the other, because I think it's going to be a tightly contested game, I would probably go Steelers 3.5, but I don't have a real strong sense on that. What I really feel like is that the over is just a little too high. But this should be a good game. The loser really gets in a pickle, especially if it's Minnesota. If Minnesota falls to 5-8, they almost go into desperation, got to win out mode. The Steelers, they could possibly lose this game and not feel as threatened, but you don't want to look the way the AFC is looking right now. It could be an absolute disaster down the stretch, especially when you look at the schedules of these two teams. I'm going to take the Steelers first. They play the Vikings tonight on the road, and then they're at home against the Titans, at the Chiefs, at home against the Browns, and at the Ravens. That is a brutal 6 games to finish your season. Or excuse me, 5 games. 5 games to finish your season. Not a single one of those is a gimme. That's why tonight's game almost feels like it's a must-win for the Steelers. As far as the Vikings go, they're going to play the Steelers tonight. They get the Bears next week. It's in Chicago, but they do get the Bears, and I believe that's a Monday night game, but I would have to check on that. The Rams at the Packers at home against the Bears. So they get the Bears twice. You like that. The Packers and Rams, that's going to be rough. So this game really does feel like we got to win this damn thing. We got to win it fast. We got to put it away and move on to the next one. Other news going around the world of sports, Florida State has hired their new athletic director. They hire Michael Alford, and Michael Alford was, before coming back to Florida State, Alford has served as president and CEO of the Seminoles Booster Club since 2020, so he's in good favor there. He's also been the AD at Central Michigan from 2017 to 2020, and we'll see what he brings to Florida State. It's not nearly the fanfare that you're getting with the new Miami move. Of course, they stole the Clemson athletic director. I don't know if that really makes a whole hill of beans, him coming in there, because they've already hired the coach. You're not changing anything over at the baseball. Miami's baseball is doing fine. The only thing that he might come in and do, he might make a change on some of the other sports, maybe mainly Miami's basketball program has been terrible for years, and so maybe that's where he goes. University of Florida's leading wide receiver from this past season, Jacob Copeland, is announcing that he will enter the transfer portal. He's a redshirt junior, had 39 catches, 607 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And evidently, he doesn't like where the program is heading, even though Billy Napier hiring was met with a lot of upbeat and promise from a lot of Gator fans. For whatever reason, Jacob Copeland says, I'm out of here. Maybe he just doesn't want to play in the Gasparilla Bowl against UCF. I don't know. Anyways, moving on from that, there are rumors out there that Oregon, especially Phil Knight, the CEO of Nike, who's got deep pockets, obviously, they want to go after Lane Kiffin to come in to coach Oregon Duck football. There's been some reports coming out there, some rumblings. We'll see what happens there. But very, very interesting if that does happen. And Virginia Tech is expected to hire Jacksonville Jaguars assistant coach Tyler Bowen as their new offensive coordinator. Bowen is 32 years old and was coaching the tight ends for the Jaguars, and he's expected to leave Urban Meyer and head there. He worked alongside Virginia Tech coach Brent Pry at Penn State from 2018 to 2020, so that's one of the reasons why he's headed up there. Okay, that's about it for the sports page. Remember, we will be live 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 Central, Friday evening. We're planning on making this a regular thing. We're going live. We're going back on the radio. We're going to be going live on YouTube, the whole 9 yards, and plan to do about a 2-hour show. So we're going to be simulcasted everywhere, but the easiest place to find us is YouTube. That's where we want you to watch us, is YouTube, because that's where we get the credits for it. So there you go. Also, just a quick reminder, we are planning on doing the Army-Navy game on Saturday. So if for some reason you cannot reach Army-Navy football, wherever you are at, we will have it here. We will be doing the broadcast live. Have a great one, and we will see you Friday for happy hour, 5 o'clock Eastern here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Take me out to the ball game.